Hey, how's it going? Troy here with Big BB LLC. I wanted to do a very in-depth video today based on some of my observations as a enhanced carry instructor. So I will pre-warn you, this is probably going to be a long one. Alright? Probably one of my longer videos I've ever done. Like I said, as a carry instructor, I've seen a lot of types of people come through here and a lot of kinds of guns come through here. And then as an FFL selling guns, I sell a lot of different kinds of guns to people. But what I can't get over is how, and this mostly applies to the women, is how they come in here with a handgun that was chosen for them, that doesn't quite fit them, and then they wonder why they can't shoot it well. Well, you can't shoot it well because it doesn't fit well, alright? There's more to it than just, here's a gun, go shoot it. You know, there's fit, there's, you got to be able to control the recoil, there's weight, there's all sorts of factors that will play into using and concealing and carrying a handgun. And so what I'm going to do is base this video and try to target like the first time people, right? That if you are interested in carrying or shooting handguns and you've not done it before, then this video is more geared towards you. If you have shot before and you're familiar with them and you kind of know the ins and outs and you've handled many different kinds of firearms like I have, then this may or may not teach you something. That's up to you. But if you're one of those kinds of people that looks at your wife and goes, well, I want you to be safe because I care about you, here, you're going to shoot this gun that I chose for you because it's a little gun with a little bullet. You're one of the worst kinds of people, in my opinion, because you're not really helping them stay safe. If it doesn't feel good to them, if they're not comfortable with it, they're going to hesitate to use it. And then it's no good. Carrying a gun isn't enough, but carrying the right gun is a good step towards self-defense and self-protection and becoming your own first responder, right? And the reason that this even came up is I had a lady come in and her husband bought her a Ruger 380, the LCP 380s. That gun is like this tall, and her hands are bigger than mine. She just could not hold it properly because only like 2 fingers actually went onto the grip, and the rest of her hands were hanging below the grip, so she couldn't even get a good grip on it, and then wondered why she couldn't keep, her shot grip together. There was no control, there's no recoil management, and it was because this is the gun my husband gave me. And we need to stop doing that, alright? So, one of the things I harp on with my students and my customers, because I'm not here just to push a gun. I'm here to push something you are actually going to use. I want to push you something that you actually want to fire. And that comes with the proper fit, right? That's where we're going to start, is the proper fit. Now, me personally, I have these little skinny girl hands. And so I gravitate myself towards single stack magazines. The reason I gravitate towards single stack magazines is because, once again, I got these little girl hands, and so I can wrap around and I can control it better. Whereas these double stacked wide magazines, while I can shoot them and I can shoot them well, they just do not feel comfortable to me because, again, little hands, and it feels like it takes so much effort to completely encapsulate that handle, or that pistol grip. And so that's why I gravitate towards that. So when you're trying to choose a handgun for a first-time carrier and you're deciding on that, one of the things that you're going to decide on is whether you want a single or a double-stacked magazine. There's pros and cons to each. These are skinnier, hold less rounds. These are wider, hold more rounds. Right? So, do you want it to feel comfortable or do you want it to hold more rounds? Or if it holds more rounds and feels comfortable, you get the best of both worlds. And so that is one of the decision factors that you have got to come across. And so just like we have varying different types of people out there, we have varying different types of guns. So right here, and every gun that I'm going to hold up has been cleared. No magazine, nothing in the chamber. Everything's free of fire. And I'm just going to keep the slides to the rear. But this is a Beretta APX. This is a single stack 9mm magazine. And so if you actually look at this, like the bottom of my fingers are hanging off, right? So the Beretta stacked magazines, they actually have this little groove here, and you can see my pinky is still kind of hanging off here. So for me, personally, that gun would not fit, right? We got a Smith & Wesson Easy Rack 380. And even without the magazine, my hand fully fits on this. So this might be something I'd consider. And it's a single stack magazine. 1911. Again, single stack magazine, and I can get my fingers around this, and I have plenty of grip. All right. 9mm Beretta M92 SB. Double stack magazine. So you see where my fingers now stop? Like, I have to try to get my hands around this. And don't get me wrong, I can. I've shot one of these forever. I've owned this one forever. I can do a double stack magazine, but it just does not feel as comfortable as a single stack. But that's just me. Again, you're going to have to figure that out. So, like I've just displayed here, many different kinds of weapons, many different fits. M&P, revolvers, Glock 17, Beretta 92, Glock 43, Ruger SR22, 1911, Smith & Wesson 380, Beretta APX, and this isn't even everything, right? This is just what I have in front of me. All right, so the other thing that you're going to have to decide now, once you've got the grip figured out, you're going to have to decide how big do you want the gun, right? So what I mean by that is, this is a Beretta 92. It is chambered in 9mm. This is a Glock 43, also chambered in 9mm. You could tell they're not the same size. They're not the same weight. They're not the same anything, all right? But they're both chambered in 9. So what's going to be the difference between the two? Well, with this one being a double stack, actually the 43 is a double stack as well, but with this one being a double stack, it's going to hold more ammo. With a longer grip, the magazine's going to be longer. A full magazine's definitely going to add more weight. But because this gun is bigger and heavier, there's going to actually be less felt recoil when you're shooting it than, say, with this one. This one's smaller and lighter. That means you're going to feel the recoil a little more than you will this one. And that's where a lot of guys are getting it wrong when they're giving their wife something like this. You cannot control this. This is just a Derringer 22 2-shot, and I'm telling you, even I've shot this one before, and you will not believe that a 22 has that kind of noise coming out of it. But seriously, who's going to use this, right? You could get one finger on this thing, and that trigger pull is so hard that it's just not practical. Why would you give somebody something like that and expect them to stay safe, right? So now, now we're getting into like the nitty gritty. Now we're getting into recoil. Well, what do I get them? Right? Let's go with the 9mm versus a 380. So you could tell right off the bat that the 380 is just a little bit smaller than the 9mm. But in actuality, the 380 is exactly the same diameter as a 9mm. They're both .355 diameter. The difference in the two is this comes in a 19mm case and this comes in a 17mm casing. So this one's going to have a little less recoil because there's a little less volume, a little less powder, a little less power. And so they're almost exactly the same round in that respect. So there are people out there that are like, well, I don't think she'll handle a 380. So I'm going to get her a 38 special. Really? You think the 38 special is going to be better than the 380? I'm just going to let you sit on that one for a while. And the same thing when it comes to the argument of a 357 Magnum versus a 38 Special. They're pretty much almost the same round, except the Magnum obviously is a Magnum. It's a more powerful round, has more pressure, more recoil. And we're not even going to get into the ammo similarities where you can fire both types out of one. We're not even getting into that yet. All right. Then you got the big fat slow 45. And you got his little brother, the not as big, not as slow 40. Or the 40 compared to the 9mm. Right, so it's... And then of course you got everyone's favorite, the 22 caliber. And a lot of people gravitate towards the 22 caliber because there's almost no recoil. I mean, it's such a little bullet. You can put it in this SR22 right here and you can just plink away. Whereas if you put it in something like this, you're not really plinking away at nothing, right? It's just being comfortable with what you're firing. And so once you got the fit down, like this gun fits me, and I am able to properly hold it, and I am properly able to manipulate it, after that, I recommend you shoot them. Once you pick out about 3 or 4, less or more, whatever you got, once you pick out about that many that you have actually chosen, like this one fits good, this one fits good, this one fits good, this one fits good, right? My next recommendation is take all the ones that fit good and find a range that'll let you rent them. And now you shoot them. Which one has a better feel to it while it's shooting? You cannot, you just cannot anticipate recoil without firing live fire. And if you're going to use these in self-defense, then you're preparing to fire these live fires. So it makes sense that when deciding on which firearm to carry, you would actually fire it, right? Fire it before you buy it. What a novel idea. Like you test drive a car before you buy it. Test drive your gun before you buy it. I highly encourage that. We do it here even, all right? That is like the basis of firearm choosing, for lack of a better term. To choose your firearm that you're actually going to use in self-defense or to carry, right? And whoever the firearm is for should 100% be a part of this decision. They should be the one holding it. They should be the one firing it. They should be the one getting comfortable with it. Not just taking the one that you gave to them so they could throw it in their purse, throw it in their glove box, throw it in a safe, where it does nothing for them. If they're not comfortable with it, if they're not firing it, then it's doing them absolutely no good. All right? One of the other things that I've noticed is that a lot of them have problems actually working the slides on most of your semi-autos. So what a lot of guys will do is they'll gravitate towards revolvers. Or the other option is they'll gravitate towards the easy selection of the Smith & Wesson series. This one happens to be a Smith & Wesson Easy 380. But what a lot of times that I find is that a lot of people are just teaching them wrong, right? So this one right here, for example, the Beretta 92, it got a pretty hefty slide on it. And so we as guys generally tend to do it. We can do it with 2 fingers, whatever. And you'll see your spouse, your girlfriend, your loved one, whatever, struggle with it, right? Here's the way that I teach them to do this in the enhanced carry course. Bring it in. This is your work area. This is where you're the strongest. In closer is where you're the strongest. You take your full hand and wrap it around this slide, being careful not to get into where it's going to pinch you. But you wrap your hand around the full slide. You take this hand and you push the frame forward. And then you just let go. And a lot of people have actually found that to be a lot easier getting their first round into the chamber than the way that their husband, boyfriend, significant other, whatever, told them or showed them how to do. All right? So if you didn't know that before, there's another tool for your toolbox. If you know of a different way, let me know, because I don't know everything. And I'm more than willing to learn different ways to pass it on to my students, because at the end of the day, as a concealed carry instructor, why we do this it's not just to make money or just to get people permits. I actually want them to stay safe, and I actually want them to be able to defend themselves in a world now where lawlessness is running rampant, and response times from your law enforcement, as well intentioned as they may be, is not it's not as good as it should be, right? In a case where the decision to stay alive or die only takes seconds, I can't be waiting for minutes to hours for somebody to show up to help me. And that's why this is important. If you give somebody something and they're not comfortable with it, they don't know how to use it, they don't manipulate it, they didn't get training or proper training, then the fact is they're not going to be able to employ it properly, and the chances of them staying safe has now decreased, right? Like I tell everybody, just having a gun is not enough. Some other decisions that you can take into account is weight. Here's a 1911. This one's chambered in .45 caliber. This thing is heavy. While I love a 1911, absolutely love them, I would not carry this because I don't want to spend the entire day trying to pull my pants up every time I take a step. It is heavy, right? Now, they do have compact versions of the 1911, and that's fine, but they're heavy. So I kind of gravitate myself to the Smith & Wesson Shield. I have chosen this one because it fits me better, and it's chambered in .40, and I've had this one for about 8 years, and I use it for everything. I go out there, I practice with it. I've done all my qualifications with it. I'm very comfortable with it. And at the end of the day, being comfortable with your weapon is actually more important than most other factors that people look towards, like, I don't know, knockdown power and stuff like that. Now, while this thing does have a smaller hand grip size, they do have a magazine. Well, let me show you this one first. So this one's the magazine that comes with it, right? So you still don't get much out of there. But most handguns may or may not have with them when you purchase them, and if they don't, they have one that you can buy them. Extended magazine with a piece on there that will actually butt up against the handle. And now look, it fits great. So this is the one that I kind of gravitate towards, all right? So like I said, that is kind of detailed. That is like the down and dirty of what I'm going to do when I first consider owning my first firearm for the purpose of self-defense. There are many other factors that come into your decision, like your holster, where you're going to carry extra magazines, where you're going to carry them. But this is where it starts. First, you got to find the gun that fits you. Then you got to find the one that you'll actually use and you can properly manipulate it. And then you can worry about the rest of the stuff. You can worry about what holster you're going to get. You can worry about where you're going to put it, because you can train to that. But if you're not properly fitted to your firearm, the likelihood of you training with it is very much decreased. All right? So, with that being said, I think I'm going to cut this one off because I think I talked long enough. But if you have any questions, go ahead. You can call me. You can leave me a message, whatever. If I forgot something, do the same thing. Let me know, hey, you didn't cover this, and I'll do another video that covers it. Like I said, I'm human. I can't think of everything. But yeah, so like I said, just let me know. I'll leave my business website on there, so if you go there, you go to the contact me, you'll have my number. You can contact me, or you can leave a message, like I said before. You can find me on Facebook at Big BB LLC. Follow my page. You can contact me on there. There's many different ways to contact me. All right? So if I forgot something, let me know. If I wasn't clear enough on something, let me know that too. I can run back through something, or I can do a more detailed video. And if you just want to see some more firearms, or want to know more about fit, or you're interested in getting your first firearm, hopefully this video helped you in the right direction. If it did, let me know that too. All right? Appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all later. Stay safe. Shoot straight.